The W1 is amongst the most exclusive cars McLaren has ever made, with just 399 units slated for production. But according to a few dealers and collectors, many of McLaren's customers who were awarded allocations for the W1 are trying to dump those allocations. And a recent video from YouTuber Mark Mccann shows just how easy it is for someone to obtain an allocation slot for the new McLaren.
Okay, right, this changes everything. Hello, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel. I'm messaging you to ask you if you're interested in buying a McLaren W1 slot. Please let me know if you need any further details.
McLaren W1, been offered a slot.
Okay, what? From McLaren?
No, I'll be honest, it's a guy off Instagram who's messaged me.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what's going on at the minute, but I know the price.
When's it supposed to be a thing available?
It's supposed to be an early car.
Okay.
Which is 2025 apparently.
Yeah.
As we know, 399 being made, so low number.
Very low. Cars are not that low anymore. That's low.
So one of my clients has already got one coming, as in he's already was on the short list for the cars that are coming through. And I also got offered a car, even again, before the cars were even announced to the public. I had a client of mine who was approached, who came to me to say he would potentially sell his slot before he even took delivery, kind of thing, that we could kind of jump through for a customer of mine.
And listen to this.
Could you get me a slot?
Yes, easily.
Today?
With a few phone calls, yes, 100%.
So Mark asks the broker if he could get him a build slot for a McLaren W1 that same day. And he says easily, with a few calls, 100%. And there's a similar story with the Ferrari F80, which, according to Supercar blog, 20% of the 799 allocation slots are still available. So if the F80 and W1 are two of the most exclusive cars McLaren and Ferrari have ever made, why is the demand for them so low? Now, the thumbnail for this video was meant to be provocative. And yes, there are people who are legitimately excited to receive their F80s and W1s. But this is the first time we're seeing so many customers who were awarded allocations for such exclusive cars wanting to get rid of those allocations. So what's going on? When the McLaren P1 debuted back in 2012, it was a sensational, exciting, groundbreaking, and beautiful vehicle. But over the last 13 years, automotive manufacturers have been churning out an endless stream of hypercar after hypercar after hypercar after hypercar. And they all offer the same cookie cutter performance and over-the-top styling. And people have just gotten tired of the whole trend. It's like back in the 90s when every product was advertised as being over-the-top and extreme. Sure, it got people's attention at first, but there's only so many times you can listen to advertisers screaming in your face about how extreme their products are before you just start tuning it all out.
Dave is trying to have an extreme summer. But Dave doesn't have to do all that. All Dave has to do is this. Extreme nachos.
I'm so proud of my grandson. He just did a raging 100-foot vertical.
Oh, that's nothing. My Daniel caught some wicked air.
That's bogus. My Billy ripped a whitewater freefall.
Well, my Thomas does the do.
Oh! Nothing's more intense than slamming Mountain Dew.
Extreme dinosaurs. Super cool superheroes. Bullseye, Stags, Spike, and T-Bone. Extreme dinosaur.
Rode it, dove it, flew it, crashed it. Never slammed it, never guzzled it.
New Pepsi Max. Maximum cola taste and no sugar.
Did it, dug it, savored it, relished it.
Live life to the max. New Pepsi Max.
And that's what's happening to the automotive industry. Companies have been coming out with so many extreme hypercars that have completely abandoned everything that made people fall in love with cars in the first place. And there's just nothing exciting about it anymore. And the F80 and W1 are simply the automotive versions of a 1990s Mountain Dew commercial. If you're new to my channel, I publish original automotive content that you cannot find anywhere else. So if you're not subscribed yet, click below to subscribe. And be sure to click the notifications bell so you can be notified about my latest videos. Another reason for the lack of interest in the W1 is that it didn't live up to the expectations that McLaren set. When it was first announced, the W1 was described by McLaren as a modern-day F1 and a successor to the P1. But those ended up just being marketing statements, because in reality, the W1 is neither of those things. The F1 is a pinnacle of automotive design. It's radical and brutal and cutting edge, but at the same time, tasteful, simple, and beautiful. And even 30 years later, it's still all of those things. The W1 is not a modern-day F1. The W1 is merely a symptom of why people are happily paying $20 million for the F1. And as far as McLaren's claim about the W1 being a successor to the P1, when the P1 first debuted, it was a huge jump forward in performance and technology, and in my opinion, was the best looking member of the Holy Trinity. And this is coming from a Porsche person. And even though the P1 is now 12 years old, it essentially offers the same performance as the W1. And at just 1/10 of a second faster to 62 miles per hour, 1 second faster to 124 miles per hour, and a slower top speed, the W1 is not exactly a huge leap forward from the P1. It's really more of a P1.2, but a lot uglier. And the lack of interest in the F80 is easy to understand. It's an ugly hybrid with a quiet engine that's priced at $4 million. Now, Ferrari most likely gave it this price because it saw the SP3 Daytona was selling for $4 million on the secondhand market. But the SP3 Daytona is a Ferrari enthusiast's dream. It's got a mid-mounted, naturally aspirated V12. It's rear-wheel drive. There's no hybrid system, and the design language tastefully encapsulates the last 60 years of Ferrari's racing heritage. Simply put, it's one of the most desirable cars made in the last 10 years. Now, there is the argument that the F80 and W1 will be worth owning because they're going to skyrocket in value, but that is most likely wishful thinking. If you look at the values of the P1, which McLaren only made 375 of, and is arguably much better looking than the W1, it has dropped in value significantly.
This was what new?
This was £1 million plus VAT.
Then where did it go?
It went up. It went to 2 million.
Did it? So it doubled as good as?
Yeah, straight away it went straight to 2 million, and then it crashed basically. It absolutely crashed and went to 650,000.
Did they?
Yeah.
So if you'd have paid 2,
yeah,
and you'd gone down to 650.
Yeah.
Maths 1.35 million loss.
Yeah. But now that's why they're now on the
way up.
Drastically on the way up.
But imagine that in a W1.
Yeah, well that's the game you play.
And while the W1 might hold its value, it's certainly not going to become a $4 or $5 million car like some people are saying. And I think that after the hype dies down and all of the deliveries have been made, the value will be equal to or less than the P1, as the W1 is just not as legendary. And future values for the F80 don't look so good either. $4 million is far and away the highest retail price Ferrari has ever given a road car, and it's $1.75 million more than the price of the SP3, which Ferrari made 200 fewer of. And when we consider that Ferrari only made 400 Enzos, 499 LaFerrari coupes, and 210 Apertas, 799 F80s is a relatively high production number, especially for such an expensive car. So when we consider that the F80 is the most mass-produced Ferrari halo car ever, it's ugly as sin, it doesn't have a V12, and it's a hybrid, it couldn't reasonably be described as a good investment, as it will never be as desirable as Ferrari's previous halo cars, which were priced significantly cheaper. The fact that enthusiasts are rejecting the latest crop of hypercars is a good thing, and maybe automotive manufacturers will listen to their customers and return to the production of more timeless and simple and beautiful cars. Thanks for watching, and for more automotive content that you cannot find anywhere else, click here to subscribe.